Hey viewers and friends, Andrew back at you with my last review, or at least for a while, of my Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. I've still yet to pick up the next generation, but just with my overall experience with the franchise, I'm not really in any rush to do so. Plus I've heard from pretty much everyone that it is a terrible film. I will be picking up a copy when I can find it for a really cheap price, just to add it to the collection, but yeah, as I said, I'm really in no rush. So this will wrap things up, at least until I get that movie, which I have no idea when that will be. But I definitely wanted to at least wrap things up for now, because I actually have had a lot of fun doing this franchise review, and it's actually the first time on my channel that I've actually done individual reviews for a horror franchise, and I've been getting some really good feedback from you guys, so I definitely wanted to upload this video today. So yeah, the review is of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. So I've kind of reviewed the franchise in a random order, because this was one of the earlier ones that I checked out. But yep, finally here to review it. This is only going to be a pretty quick review, and you'll find out why in a second. But what I'm going to do is, after I review this film, I'm going to give a bit of opinions on the franchise as a whole, and then give my ranking of worst to best. So on to the review. So this is a direct sequel, or the first sequel after the original movie, obviously. And it's a completely different film to the original, as everyone who's seen it obviously knows. This takes more of a comedy direction, and most of you know I'm not really a big fan of comedy horror, so you're probably going to have a fair idea on what I think of this film. Anyway, a little bit of the storyline. This one centers around a radio host or DJ called Stretch, who basically overhears Leatherface murdering a couple of prank callers. The beginning of the movie, two people are driving in the car listening to the radio show. They ring in, and the radio host is sick of their prank calling, but they actually get murdered by Leatherface, and she hears it on the phone. The studio has recorded it. And basically then she gets involved with the Texas Ranger Lefty, and they basically try and track down the cannibalistic family, which is Leatherface and the Sawyer family. So that's essentially the storyline for this one. What did I think of this movie? I hated it. I thought it was an absolutely terrible follow-up to the original film. I kind of knew going into it that I wouldn't be a big fan of it, so it was really no surprise when I didn't like it. I thought I might have liked it a little bit more than I had. Perhaps I need to give it another go, and go in it with a different mindset now that I know what it's about, because this was the first time that I'd ever seen this one actually. Now, prior to going into it, well, a little bit before watching this film, I found out that Tom Savini did the special effects, so I thought, oh well, it's meant to be pretty gory, and it is fairly gory, so at least the effects should be pretty good. Bloody hell, the effects in this film are Tom Savini's worst in my opinion. I have no idea what he did. Considering that he did fantastic work prior to this movie, I'm kind of surprised how weak the gore effects were. They didn't really look that good, and yeah, I was definitely let down by that. So pretty much the only thing that I thought would carry this movie, the gore effects, I was let down by. The two characters, Lefty and Stretch, they were pretty good. I did like them. I wasn't a massive fan of the Sawyer family or Leatherface in this one. But overall, I mean, this really didn't do a lot for me. I don't think it really works too well. But that's just me. I mean, I know this movie has a lot of fans. So, yeah, we'll pretty much just leave it at that. For an overall score, I'm going to give this one a 1.5 out of 5. So pretty brief review of Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, but I don't like it, so I really don't want to talk too much about it. Alright, moving on, we are now going to rank the series, or I am, from worst to best. Pretty standard. I mean, it's sort of an obvious series to rank. I've watched a few of these videos previously, and quite a few of you guys have similar opinions to me in the franchise. I do not have Next Generation, so obviously I can't rate that, but according to most of you, it's absolutely terrible. It's a piece of shit. So no doubt that would be my worst or my least favourite in the franchise. It's an interesting franchise, to say the least. I've got to say it's probably the worst horror franchise out there. You know, they could have done so much more with it. It's really unfortunate. I mean, pretty much none of the sequels whatsoever live up to the original. I mean, if you've never watched any of the sequels, I would probably go as far to say is don't bother. I mean, there's only one movie that is really worth checking out in the franchise, and that's the original. Possibly two, because the beginning was pretty good, but in all honesty, this is a franchise that we could have all done without, at least in my opinion. I mean, nothing's going to come close to the original in terms of sequels, but it is what it is. I can't do anything about it. But it was an interesting time. I did enjoy it because this is the first time that I've actually sat down and watched a franchise and then did individual reviews on it. So I did enjoy it. It was a lot of fun, but it was rather interesting and overall kind of disappointing. But yeah, anyway, I'm still disappointed, to be honest. I mean, the sequels are all over the place, which doesn't help. I mean, the biggest thing is there's no consistency with any of them. They pretty much all take on a standalone approach, which, I mean, you know, might work for some people, but it didn't really work for me. I would have sort of preferred it with an ongoing storyline. But anyway, what can you do? So enough rambling on, let's get on to my ranking. So as I said, worst to best. So the worst movie for me out of the ones that I own is definitely the remake. This is my least favourite so far. It's a terrible, terrible movie. One of the worst remakes. This one pretty much throws everything that made the original awesome. It throws it out the door. Yep, terrible, terrible film. Sitting very close behind that is Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Even though I don't like this film, I did like it quite a bit more than the remake, and I'm definitely going to rewatch this with a different mindset, and who knows, I may like it a bit more, but I'm pretty confident that it's going to remain in this spot even after I watch it again. So my second least favourite is Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. And as I mentioned in my review, sits bang in the middle, and I'm pretty happy. This is the right spot for this movie for me, and it's Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3. So it's my third favourite movie in the franchise. This is a solid sequel, and I would definitely recommend it. You know, if you've never seen any of the sequels, out of the sequels, this is the only one that is really worth checking out. Well, the beginning, but it's not really a sequel. But anyway, I did enjoy this one, and I've got to say, after my review, I kind of appreciated the movie a little bit more. I talked to a few people about this film, and yeah, it's quite interesting. It's not the movie that the director wanted, and Cody was actually telling me that the director had quite a few more ideas, but the company wouldn't allow them to do it, which is a shame because they sounded fantastic and they would have definitely made the movie a lot better. But it is what it is. Solid sequel. It's probably the closest you're going to get to the original film when it comes to the sequels. So, you know, I like it. It's well worth checking out. My second favourite in the franchise, probably no surprise, is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. Now this one is a prequel to the remake, but I pretty much dismiss the remake from the franchise now. You know, this makes a pretty good standalone movie. It's the closest to the original, especially in terms of the gritty and griminess that the movie has, and probably the sadistic family characters as well. Sheriff Hoyt is fantastic in this one. The storyline in this one's pretty interesting. It works really well. It sort of focuses on Sheriff Hoyt, who's essentially the main villain in this one, and then you've also got the interwoven story of Leatherface as well. It works really well. So if you've never seen this one before, I definitely recommend it. Great movie. And surprise, surprise, the best in the franchise, and honestly the only one that is really worthy, is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. If you've never seen this movie before, you really need to check it out. It's one of the greatest horror movies ever made, and out of every horror movie ever made, this is probably the closest you're going to get to true horror. This is a masterpiece. I absolutely love it. It is my second favourite horror movie of all time now. It's just such an incredible film. So, you know, The Beginning I think's fantastic, and I do like Leatherface or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3, but in all honesty they don't come close to this. But yep. So that's pretty much it, at least for now, until I get the next generation. I hope you've enjoyed this series, and I hope you've enjoyed my worst to best ranking. Definitely let me know what you think of the franchise as well. Always keen to hear your thoughts. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video and my review series for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and thank you for watching.